Hi, I'm Todd Jones, host of the podcast Pressbox Access.
Here's a clip from my interview with Peter King. Peter tells us about the toughness of Lawrence Taylor and what it was like to cover LT on a daily basis. What was it like to cover Lawrence Taylor as a beat reporter on a day-to-day basis? Was he accessible? Did he like dealing with the media? I mean, we know what he was like as a player, but on a day-to-day basis as a reporter, how did you find that working relationship?
We were basically the dirt on the bottom of his shoe. You know, he didn't care about us, or no, I don't care that he didn't care about us, but you know, occasionally he would talk, but he had no interest in cultivating any sort of relationship or in talking for feature stories or anything like that. I really, in a lot of ways, I mean, he was just an incredible person to cover because, you know, he obviously was an incredible player, but he was also such, to me, an admirable player because I saw him play hurt so many times. I saw him play with one arm in a game and get 2.5 sacks against the Saints when he could only use one arm, and afterwards how much pain he was in having to get help in taking his uniform and his pads off and wincing. I saw him after a game in Buffalo one time. It was one of those strike games in 1987 where he came back and crossed the picket line, and he played offense and defense. He played tight end that day.
Wow.
And the Giants still lost the game, but he played his rear end off. He got 7 holding calls on the guy across from him who was a truck driver from Illinois. And he got 7 holding calls against him. And at the end of the game, he had to get separated from the guy because he said he was going to gouge his eyes out.
Wow.
But at the end of that game, he played so hard that Wellington Mara came up to him and hugged him, and I heard what he said to him. He goes, "That's one of the most unforgettable games a Giant has ever played. Thank you." And that was Taylor. He just gave it all so that all the other stuff you could take. You know, all the other stuff you could handle. And probably the story that really helped me get to Sports Illustrated from Newsday was one of the years I covered the team. Taylor got suspended for the first 4 games of a season for failing a drug test. And I got the story on a Sunday night, and I wrote it. It was in Monday's paper. And the Giants and the league were not going to announce it until Monday. And so I broke it in Newsday. And that was kind of, for me anyway, a bit of a momentous thing. And Taylor, really, there was so much about him to be admired, but there's also part of it that, you know, a lot of people he didn't treat well. And he was a great football player, but
He wasn't helping the poor in Calcutta.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I never knew Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
Like, I would doubt if I saw him today, he would even remember me, even though I was around him almost every day for 4 years.